Hey y'all! Today we're going to be learning about section 6.1, which is on renewable versus non-renewable energy sources. So the learning objective for today is that you can identify the differences between non-renewable and renewable energy sources. And some of the essential knowledge that you're going to gain is the difference between a non-renewable energy source and a renewable energy source. So let's start out with the basics of renewable versus non-renewable. So renewable energy sources are going to be those that can be replenished naturally or at near the rate of consumption, and they can be reused. So there's a couple different categories for this, and the first category is what's known as a depletable renewable, and this is one that can run out if it is overused. Examples of this are going to be biomass, such as wood, charcoal, and ethanol. So, for example, trees are something that you can keep planting and growing more, so they are technically renewable. However, it is possible to deplete those resources, use up all your forests at a rate that you are not able to replenish to keep up with it. So that's why it's called a depletable renewable. Now, the other type is non-depletable renewables, and these do not run out if they are overused. So some examples of these are going to be solar. We will always keep getting energy from the sun, and if that's no longer happening, the least of our concerns is going to be powering our houses. Other options are going to be the wind, hydroelectric, which is where you're using turbines with like water, such as in rivers. And then we also have geothermal, which is where the heat is going to be coming from the heat at the core of Earth. Now, we will be learning more in detail about all of these things this unit, but that's going to be the non-depletable renewables. Now, the other category that we have is the non-renewable energy sources. These are ones that exist in fixed amounts on Earth, and they cannot easily be replaced or regenerated. The main example of this one is going to be fossil fuels. Because fossilized remains of ancient biomass take millions of years to form, we are not going to be able to easily regenerate those because we use it up way faster than millions of years. So these are going to be things like coal, oil, and natural gas. They're going to be non-renewable. We've only got a certain amount of them, and when we use it up, that is it. And then the other example of a non-renewable energy source is going to be nuclear. And this is because energy is going to be generated from uranium or other radioactive fuels. And theoretically, that uranium or radioactive fuels are going to be happening in a fixed amount on Earth. Now, here's going to be the key to what makes something renewable. What is necessary is that the rate of use must be at or below the rate of regeneration for renewables. So if we look here at this graph, we're looking at forests. So the dark is going to be deforestation, where we're cutting down trees, and the lighter gray is going to be reforestation. So if we are deforesting it faster than we are reforesting it, that rate of consumption is not going to be resulting in a renewable way of using our forests. And so that's why the rate of consumption is a factor in whether or not this is actually renewable. Now, if we look at fossil fuels, as I said on the last slide, they are going to run out because they take far longer to regenerate than the rate that we can use them. We cannot really wait millions of years for more fossil fuels to happen, and so that's why they are not renewable. Technically, the processes on planet Earth will eventually create more fossil fuels, but just not for us to be able to use them at that rate. So that's kind of what makes it renewable versus not renewable. So if we look here, this is going to be our years of production that we potentially have left on oil, natural gas, and coal, which I'll get a little bit more into talking about these metrics in later units. But just be aware, we have a finite amount of these, and we are within 100 years of using up most of it. All right, so this is going to be a practice set for Q for 6.1. What I want you to do is explain whether or not you think biomass is a renewable energy source. And I want you to justify your answer. So that will be your practice effort cue for 6.1. And those were your notes on 6.1 about renewable versus non-renewable energy sources.